The men who saved the company with one meeting. It was a cold Monday morning. The kind of morning when the world feels heavy, and silence says more than words. Inside a tall glass building, hundreds of employees moved quietly through the halls. No one smiled. No one laughed. The company, once a shining star in the tech world, was dying. The CEO, Evelyn Hart, stared out her window, watching the city move while her empire stood still. Sales had fallen, investors were panicking, morale was gone. And at 9 a.m. she had called for an emergency all-hands meeting. "Maybe this is the end," whispered one employee. "Maybe we're getting laid off," said another. Fear filled the air like a thick fog. But among those people sat one man, quiet, calm, almost invisible, named Daniel Reed. A mid-level manager, not a leader, not a visionary, just a man with a notebook, a worn-out suit, and a deep look in his eyes. No one knew that this man was about to change everything. Evelyn stepped on stage. Her voice trembled. "I won't lie to you," she said. "We are losing millions every month. Our clients are leaving, and our best people are quitting. I've done everything I can." Her voice broke. "I don't know what else to do." The room went silent. No one moved. You could feel the collective fear, the kind that freezes hope. Then, from the back row, a calm voice said, "May I say something?" Everyone turned. It was Daniel. Evelyn frowned. "Daniel, right. Go ahead." He stood up slowly, holding his notebook. "I've been with this company for 8 years," he began. "And I've seen it rise, fall, and rise again. But right now, we're not losing because of the market or competition. We're losing because we've forgotten who we are." The room shifted. People leaned in. "What do you mean?" Evelyn asked. Daniel looked around and said, "When I joined, this company wasn't about money. It was about impact. We wanted to make technology that helped people, not just sold products. We cared. And now," he paused, "we care about numbers, not people." Evelyn crossed her arms. "That sounds nice, but caring doesn't pay the bills." Daniel nodded. "True. But when people believe in what they're doing, they'll fight for it. They'll innovate. They'll sacrifice. Right now, everyone in this room feels replaceable. No one feels seen." You could hear a whisper through the crowd, the kind of whisper that says, "He's right." Daniel took a deep breath and continued. "Let me tell you a story," he said. "When I was a kid, my father worked for a small factory. They weren't rich, but they treated every worker like family. One day, when the factory faced bankruptcy, the owner gathered everyone in a meeting like this one. He didn't show charts or reports. He said, if we go down together, but if we rise as one. That week, every worker volunteered to work extra hours, unpaid, to save the company. And they did. That factory still stands today." He paused. The room was silent. "That's leadership," Daniel said quietly. "Not just orders from the top, ownership from everyone." Evelyn's eyes softened. Something inside her cracked open, a realization she had buried beneath stress and numbers. "You're saying, we need to rebuild trust," she said. Daniel smiled. "Exactly. We need to remind people why they started working here. Purpose first, profit follows." The tension broke. People nodded. For the first time in months, the atmosphere changed, a spark of hope flickered. Evelyn said, "Then let's do it." "But where do we start?" Daniel closed his notebook and said something that would echo in company history: start with one meeting that matters. Not with investors, not with clients, with your people. The next day, Daniel sent an email to everyone in the company. It said only 7 words: tomorrow, 9 a.m., bring your story. No context. No agenda. Just curiosity. People arrived early that morning, nervous, whispering, wondering. The conference room was full, from the janitors to the executives. Evelyn stood beside Daniel, uncertain but open. He began softly, "Today's not about reports or strategies. It's about us. I want everyone here to remember why they joined this company in the first place." He looked around. "Who wants to start?" A young designer raised her hand. "When I joined, I wanted to make tech that could help kids learn faster. My little brother struggled in school, and our tools gave him hope. That's why I'm here." Then a technician spoke. "I stayed because I believed in our team. We used to be a family." One by one, voices filled the room. Some spoke through tears, others through trembling smiles. They didn't talk about products, they talked about purpose. For the first time in years, the company remembered its heart. Evelyn watched quietly, her eyes welling with emotion. She stood and said, "I forgot what this company meant to people. I forgot that success doesn't start with numbers, it starts with meaning." Daniel nodded. "Exactly. When people connect to purpose, they bring their whole selves to work. That's what builds greatness." From that day forward, everything changed. Daniel suggested something bold: "Let's rebuild from the inside out. Let's trust our people again." He proposed a weekly open forum called The One Meeting, where anyone, from any department, could share ideas, concerns, or solutions. No hierarchy. No fear. At first, it seemed small. But soon, it became the heartbeat of the company. Innovations were born there. Conflicts were resolved there. Dreams reignited there. People stayed late, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Evelyn saw creativity return, morale rise, and slowly, the numbers followed. Clients came back. Investors returned. The company didn't just survive, it transformed. 1 year later, in a press conference, reporters asked Evelyn what turned things around. A new strategy. A product. She smiled and said, "No. It was one meeting. One meeting where we remembered that people are the core of every company." Later that day, Evelyn called Daniel into her office. "Daniel," she said, "you've changed this company. You've changed me. What made you speak up that day?" Daniel smiled. "Because I've seen what silence costs." He paused, his tone softened. "Years ago, I watched my previous company collapse. Everyone knew what was wrong, but no one had the courage to say it. I promised myself that next time, I wouldn't stay silent." Evelyn looked at him, moved. "Then I'm glad you kept that promise," she said. He smiled, nodded politely, and walked out. No promotion, no fame, just quiet fulfillment. From that moment, the story of The One Meeting became a legend inside the company. New hires would hear it on their first day. A story not about profit or power, but about purpose, courage, and human connection. Months turned into years, the company thrived. Not because of luck or a new product, but because of a change in mindset. The meeting that once began in silence had become the soul of the organization. People no longer worked for the company, they worked with it. They didn't chase profit, they chased purpose. Every success, every milestone, every innovation traced back to that one morning, when a quiet man stood up and reminded everyone of who they truly were. And Daniel. He never asked for credit. He never appeared in the spotlight. But everyone knew, when things were darkest, he was the one who lit the first candle. One afternoon, during the company's annual celebration, Evelyn stood on stage. She looked at the hundreds of faces before her, faces once filled with fear, now shining with pride. She said, 2 years ago, we were on the edge of collapse. We had lost direction, we had lost hope. But one person reminded us that companies don't fail because of markets, they fail because they forget their people. The audience fell silent. Then she turned to the crowd and said, "Where's Daniel Reed?" He stood near the back, smiling humbly. Everyone clapped, not out of ceremony, but out of gratitude. Evelyn raised her hand. "This man didn't just save a company," she said, "he saved our belief in what's possible when people come together with purpose." Applause thundered through the room. Some cried, others stood in awe. It wasn't just a celebration, it was a moment of rebirth. When Daniel left the building that evening, he paused by the company's main door. He looked at the engraved slogan, "Innovation through Purpose." He smiled and whispered, "That's what it was always about." As he walked into the sunset, one thought echoed in his mind, a truth he had lived and proven: you don't need a title to be a leader. You just need the courage to speak when it matters. Every great change starts small, with a word, a choice, or a meeting that reminds people why they began. Sometimes, saving a company isn't about profits, it's about reigniting the human spirit. And maybe, that's true for life too. When everything feels lost, when pressure takes over, and hope fades away, remember this: one meeting, one voice, one act of courage. That's all it takes to start a revolution. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that leadership begins with purpose, then don't keep it to yourself. Like this video to help it reach others who need hope today, subscribe to our channel for more powerful, life-changing stories, and share this message, because someone, somewhere, might need to hear that one voice can still make a difference. Here we learn, aspire, master, reflect, and evolve together.